Welcome to this video where you will learn how to customize EBSCOhost as your landing page. By the end of this video, you will be able to access EBSCO administrative platforms to customize EBSCOhost, create a test group or profile in EBSCOadmin, identify key settings to customize EBSCOhost as a landing page, update your branding, logo, and search settings, and locate relevant help resources. Most customizations for EBSCO user interfaces are available in EBSCO Experience Manager. However, some customization options are available in EBSCOadmin. If you are unsure of where to go to customize your interfaces, please visit EBSCO Connect and search for the help guide titled Administrators, Where do I go to configure product interfaces and authentication? This will give you a good overview of what you would do in EBSCOadmin versus what you can do in EBSCO Experience Manager. In our video today, we will be reviewing options in both of these administrative platforms. We will now review how to create test environments by creating test profiles and groups in EBSCOadmin. Creating specific test groups or profiles can be useful if you want to test new features in a development environment. These can be created in EBSCOadmin. In the EBSCOadmin environment, groups are essentially user groups. The main user group in EBSCO is the EBSCO default. User groups essentially represent a group of users, like a department or a division, or in this case, for testing purposes. By creating groups, you can customize access to EBSCO resources, gather usage statistics, and users will only have access to the profiles that you have created and assigned to that group. Profiles, on the other hand, define the databases, limiters, and search settings, as well as other features that users will see when using EBSCO resources. Profiles are essentially interfaces such as EBSCOhost. Multiple profiles can be created for different user groups. Let's have a look at creating a group or profile in the EBSCOadmin platform. Another thing to remember is that you can also analyze your usage on groups and profiles in EBSCO's usage reports. To create a new user group, from EBSCOadmin, select Site Group Maintenance. Click the Group tab and then click Add a New Group. Here you will need to complete the following fields. Group ID. Ensure that the group ID is fairly short so it's easy to locate and have in the link configuration. Set up a group name, the report's email address, and you can leave profile for linking in and default profile for Find My Organization set to none. Then click Submit. The new test group has just been created. Now we need to go and create a profile for the test group. Click Customize Services to return to the main page. In the drop-down under Group, select the new group that you have just created, and then click Profile Maintenance. Then click Add a New Profile. There are two ways we can create a profile here. We can create a brand new profile from scratch, or we could also copy profiles to pull across a copy of a live profile. To copy a profile, click on Copy Profiles, and here what you'll need to do is select the source profile and group and the target profile. You may also use the option to select parameters to copy. Please note that many of these settings may not apply to EBSCO's user interfaces, given that this is really referring to the classic EBSCO. However, you may still like to apply this to ensure any settings are carried across. At the bottom of the page, you'll just need to click on Submit. You'll now see that I have a test profile now available in my test group. What we're going to do now is just go back to Customize Services, and here is my new test profile in my new test group. The other way that we can create profiles is, as I mentioned, from scratch. In this case, if we are in the group, we can go to Profile Maintenance. We can select Add a new profile, and we just need to provide the ID, a description of the profile, the interface that we would like to set up for this profile, such as EBSCOhost, and the language and profile style. To add that new profile, you would just then go ahead and click on Submit. If you do create a new profile without copying the profile across, you will then need to enable things like your databases and configure any settings. A recommendation is to ensure that all of the databases on your profile are selected by default. This ensures that when a user accesses your EBSCO profile, that they are searching all databases. This is often referred to as an automated search. Let's take a look at this in EBSCO Admin. In your group and profile, click on the Databases subtab. This will show you the databases enabled for your profile. Over in the column Default to Selected, you can ensure that all of the radio buttons are selected as on. Then click on Submit. You may also, if you note that your databases are listed in no alphabetical order, you can also click on Order Alphabetically and then click Submit. Once you click on Submit, ensure you click Push Changes to EBSCO. Now that we have reviewed how to create and manage groups and profiles in EBSCO Admin, we will now review recommendations for customizing EBSCOhost as a landing page. This video will guide you through customizing EBSCOhost as a landing page. Suggestions and recommendations will be provided throughout, but please note that each library is different and these are simply baseline recommendations. The settings and items that we will look at will include things like our search mode defaults, expander and limiter defaults, as well as the default landing page. To configure the recommended search modes, limiters, expanders, and landing page, you will need access to both EBSCO Admin and EBSCO Experience Manager. To enable search modes and landing page preferences, you will need access to EBSCO Experience Manager at https://experience.ebsco.com. We will be reviewing how to configure the default search mode and landing page in EBSCO Experience Manager. The recommended search modes include Find All My Search Terms, which automatically searches with a Boolean and between all search terms, and the Natural Language Search Mode, which is an artificial intelligence powered search mode allowing users to query using their everyday spoken language instead of relying on complex keywords or Boolean operators. We will review both options. In the EBSCO Experience Manager platform, ensure you're in the EBSCO configuration module and under Researcher, navigate to Search. In the drop-down, you can select the appropriate profile that you would like to make these changes to. You'll note that I am using the test group and profile that I created earlier in this video. From here as well, you can also click on the preview button to launch any changes. Now we are going to be reviewing two settings in here as recommended for configuring your EBSCOhost as a landing page. The first thing we're going to review is the default search modes. So scrolling down the page, you will come across the search mode settings. Now you'll note that my default here is a proximity or Boolean style search. What I would like to change this to is Find All My Search Terms. The Find All My Search Terms will automate an AND Boolean operator. To set this as default, go to Custom and then use the radio button to mark it as selected. You may also choose the natural language search as your default search mode. If this is your preference, you can select the radio button to select it as default. Clicking on Edit in Actions to ensure that the item is visible, And you may also choose to enable your suggested search queries here as well. This is a type of generative AI and will provide the user with up to 3 additional search queries based on their natural language search. Click Publish to apply the change. Then click on Preview. So I have adjusted my search mode. You will find the search mode settings from the advanced screen in the search options. And here's my default find all my search terms. I also ensured that natural language search was visible. And as I said, you could also use this as your default as well. If you want to learn more about these search modes, you can visit the EBSCO Connect site by clicking on the hyperlink. Let's now review the next setting in Experience Manager, which is configuring our default landing page. To configure your default landing page, the recommended setting is a basic search. In my platform, it is an advanced search. So we can edit that in the same section that we just edited our search mode defaults. So again, make sure you are in the appropriate profile and in Researcher Search Settings. Scroll down the page, you'll pass the search modes, and you'll come to the default search landing page. You'll notice that my default here is advanced. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Custom, the drop down, and select Standard. Then click on Publish to apply. Now we're landing on the basic search. You can see that I have a link to the advanced search over here, and you can see I've got that natural language search mode there as well. Now, for those that might not be aware of the natural language search, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. Now, I do recommend having the find all my search terms because it does bring it in line with something like a Google search. However, you may choose to use natural language search as your default search mode. With a natural language search mode, it is important to note that you do need to include your search term as a question or as a statement. It works best with that format. Now you'll notice that I have used a question format. I've even put in the question mark. I've made sure that my toggle for natural language search is set to on, and I'm going to go ahead and run that search. Now you will note I do have that natural language search up in my find field. I also then have these suggested queries. Now the suggested queries is that second aspect of enabling the natural language search where I went to the edit option in the actions panel. So what this does is it uses generative AI to provide up to 3 related search queries based on that initial query. Another unique feature of natural language search mode is the refined query. So based on my statement or my question here, the system has provided an advanced Boolean style query that I can also copy and rerun. Let's now take a look at some additional features in EBSCO admin. To configure expander and limiter settings, you will need access to the EBSCO admin platform at https://eadmin.ebscohost.com. Expanders help broaden the scope of a user's search. They do this by widening the search to include words related to the keywords or by including the actual text or the full text results in your search. The following expanders are recommended. Also search within the full text of articles. This expander will search not just the abstract and citation information, but also the entire content of the articles in full text. So, for example, a search on renewable energy will include results where the keywords are also found in the full text. Apply equivalent subjects is usually a default for most EBSCOhost platforms. I would recommend keeping this one on, and this utilizes mapped vocabulary or subject terms to add precision to an unqualified keyword search. What this does, it means that when a user searches on something like green energy, it will also include other articles that feature another control term such as clean energy. So it just helps the user to find more relevant results. There is also the search mode apply related words. Now this will allow the user to expand results to include true synonyms and plurals. In this case, if we searched for neoplasm, the system would also search for the terms of tumour, including variations on spellings, and also synonyms and plurals. Let's have a look at the settings for expanders in EBSCOadmin. We will find the expander settings in the EBSCOadmin platform. And although there are 3 available, the 2 that are recommended to enable as default include apply equivalent subjects and also search within the full text of the articles. This can help to increase a user's search results. Let's have a look at these settings in EBSCOadmin. Expander settings can be configured in the EBSCOadmin platform. Please navigate to the appropriate group and profile, then the Searching subtab. Scrolling down in the Searching subtab, you will locate Limiter and Expander settings. Expanders are at the bottom of the list, and if we just click on the Modify link, that will take us into the settings. Now from here, you are also able to adjust the labels. If you're wanting to change the wording, you are able to do that from here. If you decided you wanted to disable or not show an expander, you can deselect it by using the checkbox in the Show column. I am going to default on the full text, also search within the full text of the articles, and enhanced subject precision, apply equivalent subjects, expanders by clicking the On Radio button in default to selected column. If you wish, you can also include the expander thesaurus for apply related words. When you're ready, click on Submit and then push changes to EBSCO. We will now review the limiter options available in EBSCOadmin. To configure your default limiter settings in EBSCOadmin, in the Searching subtab for the relevant group and profile, scroll down the page until you reach the limiter and expander settings. Then click on the Modify next to limiters. Now, it's really important if you are making the changes here that you use the screen and select Advanced to ensure that your changes apply to the EBSCO user interface. I am going to enable the full text limiter as a default by selecting the On Radio button in the default column. You may also change the text label as well. It's recommended that you apply changes to all databases on the profile and then click Submit and push changes to EBSCO. Let's review our changes on the EBSCOhost interface. Here we can see that the Access Full Text limiter is set as my default, as it is highlighted in blue. If we go and click on the Advanced Search link, that will take us to the search options, and scrolling down, we can see the default expanders that I have applied. For more information about expanders, you can click on the EBSCO Connect hyperlink. We will now review branding options, including your color scheme and logo, adding a URL to your logo, and adding up to 4 custom navigation links. You will require access to EBSCO Experience Manager to configure these settings. To configure your logo and your color scheme, in EBSCO Experience Manager, in EBSCO Configuration module, under Researcher and Branding, navigate to the appropriate profile that you wish to edit, and here you have your options for setting your color scheme. You can adjust the default by selecting the Custom Radio button, and from here you can select your primary color. Now you can use the color picker tool to drag and slide that around until you locate the appropriate color, or if you know the hex code that's used within your organization, you can simply enter in the hex code or the RGB details. I'm going to use the color picker tool to select a color. Please also note the contrast ratio. Under that, we also have the option to add a logo. So by default, you'll usually have an EBSCOhost or an EBSCO logo. You can now upload a logo that's saved locally to your machine, and you can also include the alternate text. Now we do support logos in SVG, JPG, and PNG file formats. To upload a logo, simply go to Choose an Image, locate the image, and add it. So I'm going to change my logo here to EBSCO Academy. Under that, we also have some details around the logo settings. Now, this is a really helpful tool if you're wanting your logo to link out to another site, such as your library webpage. To do this, all you'll need to do is click on the custom option and enter the URL that you want that logo to point to. You can also suggest whether that URL should open in a new tab or within that same window. Click Publish to apply the change. On the EBSCOhost user interface, we can see that the color scheme and the logo have been updated and the URL behind the logo is active. Another useful feature when customizing your landing page is to add up to 4 custom navigation links that will appear on the left-hand navigation menu. You will require access to the EBSCO Experience Manager platform to configure these links. Let's have a look. To configure the 4 custom navigation links plus header in the EBSCO configuration module, under Researcher, navigate to the navigation menu. Ensure you are in the appropriate profile, and then you'll see a section called Custom Links. So what we want to do here is click the radio button for custom and click on the toggle to ensure we're showing the navigation links. Then what we need to do is add our link. So I'm going to be adding a link to a YouTube channel. I just need to include the text field and the URL and click continue. Now I have 3 links remaining. I can have 4 in total, and I can also adjust the header. So by default, the header text is links. I'm going to go to the Actions tab, and I'm going to change this to a slightly different header, Help Resources. Then I'm going to click Continue. At the bottom of the page, I'm going to go ahead and click on Publish and Submit to apply the change. On the user interface, you'll now see under Research Tools on the left-hand navigation panel, I now have the header of Help Resources and a link out to the YouTube channel that I've just included. So there is space here for up to 4 links, and from here you can include anything you like. It could be your library help resources, it could also be a specific database or even another user interface. We will now review some product experience recommendations. AI Insights. This is a type of generative AI that will provide between 2 to 5 key points of an article grounded in full text. They are designed to save a user time by identifying how useful a work is to their topic. AI Insights are by request, so please reach out to your EBSCO sales representative. They can then be managed via the EBSCO Experience Manager platform. On the EBSCO dashboard, there is a tab called Holds and Checkouts. Now, if your library does not subscribe to EBSCO eBooks, you may consider hiding this option as this setting is specific to EBSCO ebook usage. The Holds and Checkouts tab will appear on My Dashboard Settings on the left-hand navigation menu. Holds and Checkouts are specific to EBSCO eBooks, so you can choose to suppress this if you do not subscribe or purchase any EBSCO ebooks. You also have some options around customizing that label to make it more relevant to users. Let's have a look at this in EBSCO Experience Manager. To configure the holds and checkouts in EBSCO Experience Manager, in the configuration module, under Researcher and Product Experience, scroll through the list until you reach the dashboard settings. To suppress the holds and checkouts area, click Custom and toggle the Display Holds and Checkouts area to hide. Publish the change, and we can see that that has suppressed the holds and checkouts from displaying to users. If you do purchase EBSCO ebooks, or if you just wanted to control the label for holds and checkouts, In the product experience settings, navigate down past the dashboard settings, right down to the holds and checkouts custom label. Here you can override that label and make it more specific to your users. When you've made your change, click on Publish. Now we can see that I do have the holds and checkouts tab available, but I have changed the labeling to make it a bit more specific to my users. The next setting we're going to review is a feature called recommendations, or more like this. Recommendations are usually off by default, but we do recommend to enable them to enhance the user's research experience. Let's have a look at this in EBSCO Experience Manager. In the EBSCO configuration module, navigate to the product experience under Researcher. Ensure you are in the appropriate profile, and then scrolling down the page, you'll find the recommendation settings. To enable these, click Custom and Show. Click on Publish to apply the change. Let's have a look at this on the front end. More like this, recommendations will appear on the search results. You'll find a call to action button, and when a user clicks on this, it will open a little panel to the right, providing up to 5 articles that are similar to the source article based on similar subject headings. This really allows a user to find other records of interest to their topic. Recommendations are also available from the detailed record. Click on the title link and you will see a more like this tab in the detailed record that will provide a full list of recommended articles. This concludes this video on recommendations for customizing EBSCOhost as your landing page. To recap, these are the core setting recommendations. We reviewed how to set the search mode default with the recommendation of find all my search terms. This will place the automated and Boolean operator between your terms. We looked at default expanders such as apply equivalent subjects and search within the full text of the articles. We also looked at how to default on limiters such as full text and how to set the default landing page to basic, which provides a more clean landing page with the automated default to search across all databases. We also reviewed some additional settings and product experience features like branding and customization, as well as customizing the dashboard settings. Thank you for watching this video.